Ladies and gentlemen, all my fellow women's soccer fans, welcome to the Women's Soccer/Football Podcast. Happy to bring you another episode of the pod today. We've got a bit of a shorter episode going on this week because not a ton has been happening in the world of WOSO, but that is okay. We've got some things to discuss, including the NWSL Challenge Cup. Most of the news will be on that. The United States Women's National Team have another friendly going on, and then we can talk about the shocking result from the FAWSL at the beginning of the week. We've got another great show for you all today, but first, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you all for watching. If you like what you're seeing, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, or rate the podcast if you're listening on audio currently. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you want to listen to this on the go, we're on all audio platforms, which I will link down in the description below. Or if you're into TikTok, Instagram, that kind of thing, feel free to give us a follow on those platforms. All of that I'll link down in the description below so you can look at it at your leisure. But let's get into the episode. So let's get into our segments. There's only a couple of them going on for today because of the shorter episode. The first segment is going to be, are you looking for something to watch this weekend? If so, PSG and Olympique Lyonnais will be taking each other on in Division 1 Feminine on Saturday, March 13th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2 p.m. Central if you're on the same time zone as me. Where can you watch the game? ESPN Plus is the place to go, possibly on @football as well, not positive. Probably won't know until game time. But if you're looking for a really exciting match to watch, those two are at the top of the Division 1 Feminine table. And it should be a clash of the Titans, and it will probably decide the titles. So I am super, super pumped for it. My scoreline prediction, I think PSG is going to win by a scoreline of 2 to Olympique Lyonnais' 1. But who do you think will take on the match, ladies and gentlemen? Comment below and let me know. Moving into the next and final segment before we get into our main topics, my favorite segment, the moment of silence. Just a couple moments dedicated to something excellent going on in the world of WOSO this week. And for this week, it's going to be the Olympic Reign and Olympique Lyonnais. And I'll even extend it to the Olympique Lyon football clubs of the, I guess, Olympic Reign family of clubs, because they all belong to the same parent organization, if I'm saying that correctly. But they announced a movement on International Women's Day called Let's Act Together. What that movement is it's just raising awareness and funds for a few organizations across the world that are dedicated to promoting gender equality and other awesome things of that nature. Specifically, there are 3 organizations that each club is supporting. So Olympic Reign is supporting one of them, Olympique Lyonnais is supporting another, and the Olympique Lyon men's club is supporting the third. So what are these organizations? So first, OL Reign is going to be supporting a Seattle-based organization called, I want to make sure I get this right, Water First International. What they do is they fund and invest in water and sanitation projects across the world, including in Central America, Asia, and Africa, and they give these communities access and give women more opportunities to earn an income and have an education. So really awesome on OL Reign for that. The next organization is one based in France called Les Mas or Les Mas. I don't speak French, so I'm kind of going off of guessing here, but that organization supports female victims of violence and abuse and also helps women in situations where they might be experiencing vulnerability, suffering, or exclusion. At the same time, they perform their own research, so all really amazing things. That organization is being supported by Olympique Lyonnais. And then lastly, Olympique Lyon, they're supporting an organization called Elections, and it's dedicated to fighting gender-based violence across France, and they do so through advocacy, education, and more. So that is the Let's Act Together movement announced on the International Women's Day, which is really, really exciting stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll join me on the count of 3 for a toast of our women of silence, or a moment of silence to this excellent parent club. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, that feels right. What do you think of the moment of silence for this week? Are there any other really awesome, noteworthy things that happened in the world of WoW? So feel free to let me know down in the comments below at your leisure. That'll do it for the second final segment. So one more thing before we get into our main topics. Somebody mentioned in last week's video that I did my top 10 I did my most anticipated teams of the NWSL season, and they point out that I forgot one, and I very, very appreciate you pointing that out to me. I can't remember your name right now. I'm so sorry, but just know it's greatly appreciated. If I had forgotten to put Portland Thorns into my most anticipated team list, and I knew I was forgetting a team. I got done filming, I posted it, I'm like, I swear I'm forgetting something, and yeah, it was because I forgot to put the Portland Thorns in the the list of most anticipated teams. So if I had to put Portland Thorns into that list, I would say they're my fourth or fifth most anticipated team for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, the addition of Crystal Dunn, Becky Sauerbrunn, because we haven't really seen them play together in a full season. And seeing them gel with the likes of Christine Sinclair, Adriana Franch coming back, uh, Sophia Smith, I'm so excited to see all those pieces play together at once, and I think they're going to have a great season ahead of them, and then including Lindsay Horan as well. However, my excitement gets a little bit dwindled because of the fact of the Olympics coming up for this summer, so a lot of those players are going to be gone overseas, so I'm excited to see what they do, but at the same time, my expectations are a little bit tempered, so that's why I'd put them at fourth or fifth on my list. So below OL Reign in my anticipation list, and probably above KC NWSL at the same time. So thank you again, my friend. I'm so sorry I forgot your name, but I appreciate you pointing it out in the last video that I forgot. So I hope that answers your question, and thank you so much for watching. It's an honor. So with all of that down and out of the way, let's get into our main topics. Ready, let's get into the first main topic of the episode, which is just going to be the NWSL Challenge Cup for 2021. A whole bunch of stuff was let out today, including the full release schedule and also the East and West divisions that are going to be taking place. So we'll start off with the divisions first. First in the East Division, we've got several teams, including Racing Louisville, the North Carolina Courage, the Washington Spirit, the Orlando Pride, I'm missing one more, and Sky Blue FC. And then the other division, the West Division, we've got the Chicago Red Stars, the Houston Dash, the Portland Thorns, OL Reign, and KC NWSL. So the format of the tournament's going to be those two divisions. The best team in each of those divisions is going to face off against each other in the championship match. For those of you, in case you don't know, the Challenge Cup will begin on April 9th. The opener is going to be the Chicago Red Stars taking on the Houston Dash, which I cannot wait for. I'm supremely excited for it. What are some of the big notable games to watch out for this tournament? I obviously don't want to read you off all 21 games. That would be really tedious, but what are some of the more noteworthy ones? First off is going to be the opener, which I already mentioned. That's going to be on Friday, April 9th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where the Houston Dash and the Chicago Red Stars will take each other on. The next most notable game I have is Racing Louisville's first ever game. That's going to be against the Orlando Pride on Saturday, April 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Other notable games going on. I think it's worth noting the KC NWSL first game. I'm trying to see when they play in this really long list. They also play on the same day, so that's Friday, April 9th at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. They're going to take on the Portland Thorns over in Portland at Providence Park. So moving into the later parts of the tournament, the final, or the championship, I guess you could say, is going to take place Saturday, May 8th at 1 p.m. And you can watch all of these games on CBS Sports Network, Paramount Plus, or if you're internationally, for example, if you're in Canada or overseas, you can catch all these games on Twitch TV. So really exciting. 21 games in total. We got an East and a West division. I'm really excited for this tournament because it's going to be the growth from the pandemic all coming to fruition. What do I really mean by that? Well, I would say that the NWSL is one of the few leagues in the world that actually really grew and took some lessons away from their season almost getting inevitably canceled and postponed because of the pandemic. They created this nice preseason tournament that gives younger players a chance to shine and make the roster, while also having another competition for fans to look forward to overall. So I think this is going to be a massive tournament. It's going to be a ton of fun for us fans to see. Like I said, it gives us something to look forward to as well. However, the one thing that this is kind of a gripe with this tournament for me is that there's really no playoff, and it makes sense because this is just a preseason tournament overall. But I think if they had at least a 14 playoff, it would make it way more impactful, because then you're not just picking the best team out of 6 in each division. It seems to be really unforgiving. With a playoff, you'd have a little bit more competitiveness, a little bit more uncertainty, and it makes a much more exciting experience for the fans as well. Of course, that's all subjective, but it like I said, it's all understandable. The good news is that when we get to the NWSL regular season, we're going to have a 6-team playoff expanded this year, which is another sign of the league growing, in addition to all the multi-year contracts that we've been seeing, which is really cool. So having said all that, who do I think is going to emerge victorious from the NWSL Challenge Cup? Who's going to win each division? Who's going to win it all at the end of the day? So we'll start off with the East. In the East bracket, I think I've got the Washington Spirit winning this one. I think they're the best team in the pool. If I'm being completely honest, I think the East Division is pretty weak for the most part. I think a lot of the strongest teams in the league as of right now are in the West Division. So, and having said all that too, I think the Washington Spirit are one of the best teams in the NWSL this year. And I think they're going to be least impacted by the friendly that's going to be taking place between the United States Women's National Team and Sweden. So it'll be really, really interesting to see. I think they're going to shine very well in this tournament. Who do I think is going to win the West Division? What's the other side of the coin? Part of me wants to say the Portland Thorns. The biggest reason is that they're probably the deepest, most talented squad in the West aside from the Chicago Red Stars. The one thing that makes me curious is that the Portland Thorns are obviously going to get thrashed by the fact that their best players on the roster are all going to be over playing against Sweden in the friendly. That's Lindsey Horan, Crystal Dunn, Sophia Smith potentially. Christine Sinclair might be gone. Or actually, no, Christine Sinclair doesn't play for the U.S. What am I saying? So that poses definitely some uncertainty in that particular aspect. But since Portland's got a nice long running team, I think I'm going to give them the edge over this one. If I had to pick two other teams that weren't the Washington Spirit or the Portland Thorns, I would say the Chicago Red Stars would probably win the West. But then again, a lot of their pieces are going to be missing because of the friendly. And for the East, I would probably say Sky Blue for reasons that I can't really elaborate. It's just a gut feeling, I guess you could say, a gut instinct. Who do I think is going to win the tournament overall then in that case? I hate to say this, but the Portland Thorns. I say that begrudgingly because it's like the Portland Thorns are such a successful dynasty and they have been in the NWSL for a while. But then again, at least it's not the North Carolina Courage, so there's that as well. It's kind of, I think it's going to be refreshing this season to see North Carolina Courage maybe not perform as well as they have in past seasons because they lost a ton of talent in the offseason as well. So it should be super, super interesting. I can't wait to see how this Challenge Cup will shape out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think. Who do you think is going to take home the East and West Division? And who do you think is going to win the Challenge Cup? What do you think of the tournament overall? Feel free to jump down in the comments below and let me know what you think. So, with all that down and out of the way, let's get into the next main topic. The second main topic, which is going to be some exciting news. The U.S. Women's National Team has announced their next friendly that's going to be taking place exactly a month from when I'm filming this. On Saturday, April 10th, the U.S. Women's National Team is going to face off against Sweden at Friends Stadium, I believe the stadium is called. It's over in Stockholm, Sweden, so they will be traveling overseas to feature in that particular game. Super pumped to see them get in more games before the Olympics this summer, assuming that they're still happening. I think that there's no surprise in this particular case that the U.S. is going to be scheduling more friendlies because obviously with the Olympics coming up, but the timing of this I think is kind of significant because as you know from the previous main topic, the Challenge Cup is starting April 9th and the U.S. is going to be playing Sweden on April 10th. So I think this really works out for both parties involved, being the NWSL and U.S. Soccer, at least the women's squad, because with a lot of the U.S. Women's National Team players being gone from the NWSL, it's going to give a lot of those younger players in the NWSL more time, more minutes, and more opportunities to shine in their respective teams and hopefully make the roster for the NWSL season because, hey, it's crunch time. Everybody's got to vie for a spot and earn their place in the squad. So I think it really works out for the NWSL in that respect. And then for the U.S. Women's National Team side of things, I think it works out because then the U.S. Soccer Federation doesn't have to risk their players playing in a preseason tournament and getting injured for it. Can you imagine how bad that would suck if, for example, I'm going to knock on wood just in case, but if for whatever reason Crystal Dunn played for the Thorns in the Challenge Cup and got like a really bad season-ending injury, that would obviously be horrible for the Olympics going forward, and we don't want to lose Crystal because she's a national treasure. So I think the timing overall works out really, really well for the April friendly, and I'm really excited to see the U.S. play more games, especially with how well they've been playing this year. Vlatko's tenure is off to a 16-0-0 start, which is the best in U.S. soccer's history, so the mastermind, I'm almost tempted to call him the philosopher, but there's got to be even better nickname for Vlatko because he's just a brilliant mind in the world of football. But having said all that, who do I think he's going to take with him for April's camp? So we'll start off with the goalkeepers. I think he's going to take Alyssa Nair, Jane Campbell, and Ashlyn Harris. I don't really know the situation with Ashlyn Harris and Allie Krieger because they sat out of last camp because of their baby Sloan Phillips being born. I don't know if they're going to sit out for a couple more months just to have more time with their baby, raise it, do whatever they got to do. It's a very big possibility. I'm going to take a gamble in that prediction and say that they will participate in the camp. But if I'm wrong, then I anticipate Vlatko will either take Aubrey Bledsoe or Casey Murphy to fill in that third goalkeeping spot. In the defending positions, I think he's going to take Midge Purce, Emily Sonnet, Allie Krieger, provided that everything plays out like I thought it was, like I think it's going to, as I mentioned with Ashlyn Harris, or Kelly O'Hara, Crystal Dunn, Abby Dahlkemper, Becky Sauerbrunn, and Tierna Davidson. I think he's going to start using these games to whittle down the remaining defenders that he's going to take with him for the Olympics. Now, I didn't include Alana Cook in this list because by that point, she'll still be vying for a title with PSG, and given the current COVID restrictions with PSG, I don't think they will let her out of, domestic league to come and play in a foreign country, because otherwise she'd have to quarantine for too long, and PSG don't exactly want that. What about the midfielders? I think the midfielders are going to include Christy Mewis, Sam Mewis, Katerina Macario, Julie Ertz, Rose Lavelle, and Lindsay Horan. Now, what you might be thinking is Katerina Macario, she's also playing in the French league, but you just told us that PSG probably wouldn't allow Alana Cook to exit to play in the friendly. But the thing is, Olympic Lyonnais let her go last time, so why wouldn't they let her go this time? It really depends on which team you're really looking at is going to let their respective players go. I'm just taking a shot in the dark and thinking that Olympic Lyonnais will probably let Katerina Macario play in the friendly, but I very well could be wrong. It's one of the many gambles in making these predictions, so that'll be really, really interesting to find out. How about the forward line, though? I think he's going to take Carly Lloyd, Kristen Press, Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe, Lynn Williams, and wait for it, there's one spot left. I think he's going to take Tobin Heath. I think Tobin Heath's injury is going to be healed just in enough time for that Sweden friendly, and she's going to be able to play probably a limited number of minutes, but some minutes nonetheless, maybe 10, 15, because coming off a major injury, you got to be able to play at some point, right? What better opportunity would there be than in this friendly against Sweden? And plus, she doesn't have to travel too far from England. I'm assuming she'll be in England at that point in time. So I think Tobin is going to be, I'm predicting she'll be healthy enough to participate in camp and also get some minutes in the game. Rumor has it that on her Instagram, it's still blank from what I'm hearing, but that she was off the boot, according to one of the stories that she posted. So who knows? Maybe her injury is recovering better than expected, but there's really no official word on that, so we'll have to see. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to know, who do you think Vlatko Andonovski is going to take to April camp with him? Do you think Ashlyn and Allie will be there? Do you think Katerina Macario will be there? Do you think Alana Cook will be let go to join camp from PSG? Whatever you think, comment below and let me know. With all that done out of the way, let's get into the next main topic. The third main topic and final one for the episode, we're going to do a match week 16 and a half, we'll call it, preview. The reason being is because a lot of the games that are taking place in the FAWSL this weekend are makeup games, one of which I actually have to catch you guys up on, so we will start with that. Bristol City took on Reading earlier this week on Monday, and Bristol City came up with another upset win. They bested Reading by a scoreline of 3-2. This is the kind of stuff that dreams are made of, everybody. To see Bristol City continue to get big win after big win after big win with some bumps along the road is it's so exciting. It makes this relegation battle so much more interesting. And the reason being is because now there's a new team in the relegation spot for the first time, I think, in like 4 months. That new team now is going to be West Ham United. They are now in the relegation spot as of that scoreline. So the one caveat to keep in mind with that is that West Ham have 8 points that are in the relegation spot. Just above them are Bristol City. Bristol City have 9 points. West Ham have 8. The big difference is that Bristol City do not have a game in hand, while West Ham have a game in hand. So that's something to keep in mind. If West Ham can win in their next match, they'll, of course, be safe in terms of the relegation spot. Or even if they tie and they have a better goal difference, they will push Bristol City back into the relegation spot. But if they lose, the scenes that it's going to spell for the relegation battle is insane. And even with Bristol City winning this, it shakes up the bottom of the table and makes it so much more interesting. Let's actually look at some of the other teams that are in the bottom of the table. So we'll go with the bottom four right now. So in ninth, we've got Birmingham City. They've got 3 games in hand, so there's a lot to be made up there. They've got 11 points. In 10th, we have Aston Villa with 2 games in hand at 10 points. Then in 11th, we've got Bristol City with 1 game in hand at 9 points. And then lastly, we've got West Ham United with 8 points with 2 games in hand. So when a lot of these games start getting made up, I don't know what I was trying to say there. The points are just going to squeeze together tighter and tighter, especially if these teams are only drawing or losing. Oh, somebody's going to get relegated by the hair on their chinny chin chin, because these points are just so... There's literally, between 9th and 12th, only 3 points separating those 4 spots. That's insane. This relegation battle is going to be something to live for, and that's what makes European football so great. With the concept of relegation, that's the one thing that I like about European football a lot more than American football, because, or at least American football leagues, meaning the NWSL, and it just makes it so much more exciting. So that result is absolutely massive for Bristol City. Who else scored for Bristol City, though? Sorry, I totally forgot to write them down right before I started this main topic. 1 second. Here it is. Okay, so who else scored for Bristol City to open up the scoring in the 24th minute? Wellings ended up having the first goal of the game. Actually, scratch that. Harry's of Reading FC had the first goal of the game in the 13th minute, but Reading had the answer about 10 minutes later. Moving in later on to the first half, it looks like... Actually, no, jump over to the second half. Sorry, guys, I wasn't prepared with the people who scored. Perfield scored in the 58th minute to give Bristol a 2-1 lead, and then just 15 minutes later, Rowe ended up opening the scoring to score Reading's second goal. So now, at that point, it was 2-2. And then, who other than Bristol City's shining light, the former Man United young striker, Ebony Salmon, scores in the 79th minute to give Bristol City the final push in order to seal the win. The scenes, folks, to give Bristol City another win is just absolutely fantastic to see. It's going to give them so much confidence, and I can't wait to see what they do for the next games. So, this main topic is going to be a little bit lighter because there's only 2 other matches that are being made up for the weekend. Those 2 matches are going to be Birmingham City and Everton. That's going to be taking place on Thursday, March 11th. At, I believe it's going to be 1 p.m. Central Time, for those of you who are curious or that are going to watch. And then the second game is going to take place Sunday, March 14th at 6:30 a.m. Central Time. So if you guys want to get up early for that one, go nuts. That's going to be Reading and Tottenham taking each other on. What are my score predictions for those 2 matches? We'll start off with Birmingham City first. I've got Birmingham City losing to Everton by a scoreline of Birmingham City's 1 to Everton's 2. The reason being is because Birmingham City, they haven't been playing a ton of games lately, and it doesn't really seem like they're in that great a form. Everton, on the other hand, they haven't been winning a ton. However, I think they've been getting a little bit better as time has gone on. They didn't get thrashed by City at the weekend. That shows a little bit of growth. Their pieces are starting to score. Jill Scott, Valerie Govan scored in the previous week. So I think the cylinders are going to click for Everton in this game, and they're going to win this one by a scoreline of 2-1. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And then the next match, Reading and Tottenham. What can I say about both these teams? They've been both so inconsistent as of like the last 6 weeks. I thought Reading was going to be on a great run, and they were actually going to overtake Everton, but now they lose to Bristol City, which just blows my hair back. And also, they 2 weeks previously, they beat Man United, so it's like, what the heck's going on with Reading? But then at the other end of the table, or at the other end of that conversation, is Tottenham. Tottenham were on a really good run for the month of January, and since then they just really haven't performed very well. This match, it's anybody's game, so I'm just going to go with a 2-2 draw. So it's going to be a nice scoring affair, but no winner's going to come out on top of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, what do you make of the Reading Bristol City result? I think it's massive for the relegation battle. Does it change who you think will be relegated? Feel free to jump down in the comments below and let me know what you think. All right, so we've made it through all of our main topics for the episode. So having everything down and out of the way, I just want to say thanks again for watching, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. I hope to see you in the next episode of the podcast. And as always, have a great day.